The Nintendo 3DS. It was the main moneymaker during the Wii U era. While the Wii U was a financial black hole that almost took the whole company down, the 3DS was different. However, with success, shovelware is inevitable. We weren't just seeing bad games from companies that we do not know. This time, the shovelware came from the well-known companies like Activision, Bandai Namco, and GameMill. These multi-million-dollar companies took world-class IPs and dumped lazy experiences on the system, purely to hurt kids with birthday money or unsuspecting parents. And because I was curious to see how bad it just got, I went to Metacritic, dug through wikis, and handpicked the absolute worst 3DS games I could find. I played it on my new Nintendo 2DS, some to completion, but with others I just couldn't take it anymore. First up is a game or a collection of games that defines this era. It's the Angry Birds Trilogy. This is a fascinating one because while it was pretty criticized at launch, it is actually kind of respected nowadays. The reason for the hate back in 2012 was the price tag. Activision charged $40 for this trilogy. Out of all the free games, Classic, Seasons, and Rio, 2 of them were free on mobile. Sure, the App Store had HD versions for $2, I think. That is still a massive jump to $40. So reviews were pretty mixed across the board. Many people felt kind of scammed, and Activision tried justifying the price increase with the fact that it had achievements, no advertisements, and HD graphics. But the 3DS version didn't have HD because it was a weaker console. But about 6 years ago, this game had a massive switch up. Because Rovio delisted the original apps, this disc or cartridge is now one of the only ways to play Angry Birds Rio and Season. What started as a $40 cash grab accidentally became a piece of preservation, which is why it's first on the list, and to be fair, a 62 out of 100 isn't that bad. But it's gonna get worse, much worse. The gap is already being made because the next one has 12 points less, having a Metacritic rating of 50. But I'm already going to say this in advance, it is a miracle that it didn't get 30. The next game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo 3DS, released in 2013 by Activision. So before I even start ripping into this game, I ran in its first issue, that being the title. So for some reason Activision decided to release 2 games on the 3DS called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One is based on the Michael Bay movie and the other one is based on the Nickelodeon series. I will be covering the Nickelodeon series. So this is a beat 'em up where you control one turtle whilst the other 3 are handled by the AI. And here we find the worst issue in the game, the AI. While you're fighting for your life, one brother might attack occasionally, but the other 2 will do absolutely nothing. And when I say absolutely nothing, I mean it in the most literal fashion. They just stand there doing nothing. But surely the combat, the most important part of a beat 'em up, is good, right? Well, no, it's not. The loop is terrible. So you press A to hit an enemy, a free hit combo, and then they fall down. And then they become invincible, and you cannot hurt them whilst they're laying on the floor. So you have to stand there, wait for them to get up, so you can hit them again. And at this point you press on X to throw them around. You might throw them against the screen as a fourth wall break, or you might throw them in a trash bin, it is whatever. But that is how you just kill an enemy. It's very repetitive, it's kind of clunky too, and it just isn't very fun. I haven't played the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games on the system, but if this was Activision's opening for the 2012 series, it is a very bad one. It does function, I didn't encounter any glitches, but it's not very good, and you're better off playing it something else. Next up is Regular Show, which has a rating of 48 out of 100. Now most people don't even know that there was a Regular Show game on the 3DS, but the ones that do not like it. One of the main reasons is because of the hitboxes on enemies being very bad. Now to be fair, the hitboxes aren't actually as bad as people say, at least in my experience, but one thing that is a massive issue that is also very harshly criticized is the difficulty. The game uses a one hit and you're dead system. You can occasionally find power-ups that gives you a ranged attack or an upgrade depending on your playstyle. So for the majority of the experience, one tiny mistake and you're dead. And the game only has like 16 levels, but the game is dragged out by some serious artificial padding because it's so frustratingly difficult. You have to switch between Mordecai and Rigby. Mordecai can double jump and Rigby can crawl through small gaps, but because of this, the level design is just very ugly. The bosses are also kinda bad, because the power-ups again don't carry and you still die in one hit. The final boss especially is really bad because it only has 6 stages, no checkpoints, and again you die in one hit. So if you die at the final stage, you go all the way back. And honestly, it's kinda sad that this is the only regular show game on the 3DS, or only regular show game period, because Adventure Time got like 5 and this is just a bad platformer. After Way Forward made the first Adventure Time game ever on the 3DS and the original DS, they made another one about 1 year later. It did not release on the original DS sadly, because this was like in 2013, the DS already dying out by the time the first one came out in 2012. So it did not release on the DS. But it did release on the Wii U, PS3, Xbox, Steam, and the 3DS of course. Although the previous game, Hey Ice King, Why Did You Steal Our Garbage, got good reviews, although it had some criticism for its short length, this one, the new one that came afterwards, Explore the Dungeon, had got very bad reviews. It has a 33 out of 100 on Metacritic right now. So this game is a dungeon crawler. There are about 100 floors, which sounds like, kind of sounds like the Binding of Isaac, just a little different. Except this game has a very bad combat, at least with the character I played. I played with Jake. He was my favorite character back then when I watched the show, which is a very long time ago. Haven't kept up with it since, haven't kept up with it in years. And the combat is literally just a 3-hit combo and that's it. So for 100 floors, you just have the same combat. It just gets repetitive very quickly. I only played a few floors and it became pretty clear to me that it wasn't going to get much better. And since we're playing it on the 3DS, we also get the worst deal possible, because the home consoles at least had multiplayer and it got a 40 out of 100, which still isn't very good. It also had voice acting and it was just a lot less choppy. The 3DS version had no co-op, no voice acting. You are stuck in this slog alone. Plus the frame rate is pretty choppy and the game just kind of feels kind of unfinished. Like, I'm sure it would have been better if it had an extra year, but because this game only came out like 1 year after the first, I'm guessing it got rushed. This game retailed for like 40 euros back in the day, which is just insane because when you think about it, it's kind of just a sloppy version of The Binding of Isaac. The Binding of Isaac actually came out, on the 3DS at least, came out much later, way later after the Explore the Dungeon. So it also retailed for a lower price, I'm pretty sure. So this game, just don't touch it, and I got bored of it very quickly. There are better Adventure Time games on the 3DS, I'm sure. Just don't play this one. With a 30 out of 100, we have Power Rangers Megaforce, based off the TV series with the same name. And this one's rough. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up that's hit out of 30 on Metacritic, but even that feels generous. The cutscenes are so long and boring, and once you actually start playing, the frame rate is incredibly inconsistent. It started so bad it feels like your 3DS is going to crash at any second, which it did for me for a few times. To make matters worse, the cutscenes are unskippable as well, forcing you to sit through a story you definitely don't care about. It gotta have the worst audio design I've ever heard in a video game. The characters are constantly spamming the same voice lines, often interrupting themselves with the exact same voice clip before they even get to say the first one, and it gets infuriating because they don't even say anything meaningful. They just say something useless that I suspect that the developers added it with the intent to annoy the player.
Down the enemy.
You can use. You got this, Emma.
Down the enemy with the card.
You leave it to me. You okay?
You heard.
And the combat, it's non-existent. Every single character has one 1-2-3 attack combo and one projectile, and that's it. It's very rushed, massive cash grab because it was a full price retail game and it had no business being one. I did not play this one for very long because I just couldn't finish it. Next up is Tenkai Knight's Brave Battle. If you don't remember this anime, don't worry, neither does anyone else. But you should remember that this game holds a 26 on Metacritic, making it the second worst rated game on the 3DS library. So, the game has you select a robotic character, customize the gear with blocks gathered from missions, and head into repetitive arena stages to mash buttons against brain-dead enemies. But the most glaring sign that this was a massive rushed cash grab is the movement. In this game, you have zero air control. When you jump, you cannot move forward unless you were already moving before you left the ground. Straight up, and you press left or right, you don't move an inch. It is a sign of a very bad game when you don't even bother to program something as basic as moving midair. Also, the presentation is awful. It's just lazy. Like, I can excuse a handheld using static PNGs and text for cutscenes, but like, at least give it some flair. The images just awkwardly fade in and slide left and slide right, and it just has zero energy. Which makes me wonder, like, how long was this game in development? Like, it couldn't have been more than 6 months. So, Tenkai Knights was a massive cash grab, and guess what? It didn't work because the franchise is dead, the merge didn't sell well at all, the game was critically panned, and somehow this isn't even the worst reviewed game on the system. And finally, we reach the bottom of the barrel, the ultimate licensed and lazy experience. Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, sitting at an abysmal 21 on Metacritic. This is the officially lowest ranked 3DS game on the entire site. So before we even open the application, you get a taste of the quality. You know how the 3DS menu shows a small animation and plays a sound effect when you select the game? Sorry for the bad quality, I don't have a capture card, but like, what happened here? It was just 4 random beeps. So this is how the game looks. It looks like a Flash game from 2008, but on the 3DS, so it's even uglier. And just like Explore the Dungeon, the co-op was completely removed, so like, you're stuck in this nightmare alone. The gameplay wasn't boring enough because it's just a simple beat 'em up and you only have like 3 attacks. There's forced backtracking. I was in the end of the 4th stage when Richard Watterson shows up to tell me that I need to find Skip for Beach City. You know, the beach city I'm in right now. And he doesn't have a voice, he's just a blatant unmoving PNG. So like, I had to backtrack all the way to the 2nd level of the 1st world, the Clarence world. And you find Skips about a quarter of the way through that level, but then you're forced to finish the stage. Then you head back to Beach City, play the entirety of stage 4 again, and then you're allowed to stage 5. So think about that loop. To unlock stage 5, you have to beat stage 4, get denied, be forced back to stage 2, and then play stage 4 again. And this happens more than once, so it is the most transparently lazy way to pad out a game I've ever seen. There was actually a DS version planned of this game, but it got cancelled, and if it had been released, it would have been the final game ever for the original DS. And that was it. This video took a lot of effort, so like, I hope you enjoyed it, and that was it. Goodbye.